Okay guys, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Now, fasten your seatbelts. Here we go. All right guys, I'm back and it is Tuesday, March the 3rd, and it is 9:35 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, what we're going to be doing tonight is a little bit different than what I normally do. And we're going to be looking at, as I promised you, we're going to tie in the Denver International Airport, the Bank of America murals, the building, the Bank of America building in Charlotte, North Carolina. They have murals there. We're going to be looking at those, and we're going to tie it all together with some other things. The virus, also Heliophan's small animated film, or rather I should say short animated film, I Pet Goat 2. So let's get started. Now, having said that, I'm going to try and do this in one video. It may be a longer video, so this may be the only video that I do tonight. But if it's something that you enjoy and you want me to do more like it, I would be happy to. You know, in between the news and the virus and everything that's happening, I would love to do more of these types of videos where I do an in-depth dive on certain things, and you may even want to suggest some things that you guys want to see. I'm open to it. All right. Well, I do have some people to thank, but I'm not going to do it in this video because it's not a regular video, and it'll probably attract people that don't normally watch the channel. So for that reason, I'm going to wait till the next regular video to do that. But let's get started, okay? And we're going to be starting with the Denver International Airport. All right, so let me begin. When Denver International Airport's construction began in September 1989, there was already a fully functioning airport, the Stapleton International Airport, which sat just outside the downtown Denver, just outside of downtown Denver. Denver International Airport is in the middle of nowhere. It's 40 kilometers outside of Denver and 30 kilometers farther from the city than Stapleton was. So it's 30 kilometers further than the old airport was. The size of the new airport is extraordinary, larger than the size of Manhattan at over 33,500 acres. It's the largest airport in North America by total land area, and despite its size, it has fewer runways than the airport it replaced. Curious. There's no question that's curious. Now, and I just want to, put this in there that I had wanted to, ever since hearing these stories of Denver, I had wanted very much to see the airport there. But I never had an opportunity. It really wasn't someplace I wanted to go on vacation, and I just didn't have an opportunity until I flew home from New Orleans to Canada, and I was home, and returning, I was going to be leaving from the Syracuse airport, and we got a massive snowstorm, and I couldn't get out. Nobody could get out, and I begged them. I said, I don't care how many times I have to transfer, where I have to go. I need to get home because I had a job that I absolutely had to get back to. So interestingly enough, I flew all over America. It seemed that way anyway. It was like, I don't know, probably 30 hours or more of total flying time. Really, it was maybe not total flying time, but until I reached home. Anyway, I flew to the Dakotas, and then somewhere else, and then to Denver, and then from Denver to New Orleans, but there was a few other stops in there somewhere. Anyway, that's not why I'm saying this. It's just that I had a layover in Denver International Airport. So I took full advantage of that, and I had my camera with me, so I took pictures, and I got to see it in all its glory. I actually went outside of the security area, which was not good because then I had to get checked back in, and all that was a nightmare. But regardless, let's go on. I wanted to tell you that that's how I ended up getting the pictures and being there. It was really just a fluke. But I don't believe in flukes. I don't believe in coincidences so much. So I think that it was meant to be. So I used that time very constructively and took the best look around that I possibly could. Anyway, let's go on with this, the introduction to it. Construction was completed in 1995, 16 months behind schedule. There was apparently due to poor project planning and constant changes to the airport's design, or this was apparently due. They kept changing the planning and they changed the design so many times that it was running woefully over budget. The final cost of the project was startling to many at US $4.8 billion. And you have to think about the fact that they had a perfectly good functioning airport already with more runways than this airport. And yet they spent $4.8 billion, which is roughly close to $8 billion today. So that would be close to $8 billion that they spent on this airport in today's money. It was a whopping $2 billion over budget. Now, how do you get $2 billion over budget? I can see several million, certainly, but billions? Poor planning. Or was it poor planning? Several mysterious claims were made about the airport before its official opening on February 28, 1995. Construction workers handling different parts of the project mentioned complex underground tunnels and buried buildings, officially extending an invite to the conspiracy theorists, like myself. And I'm not so much into wild conspiracies, but I want to check them out to see, if there's anything to it. And that's exactly what I did. And I would have to say, yes, there is something to it. So let's go on here. Some believe that these underground areas are secret emergency bunkers built for the protection of the global elite in the case of nuclear war or some other apocalyptic event. Others say that hidden below the surface lies a FEMA, a Federal Emergency Management Agency concentration camp, or a command center for the New World Order. Which, in a nutshell, is a conspiracy theory that claimed that the world's most powerful people are secretly conspiring to control us. Well, with everything that we've been looking at for the last few years, I would say that is an absolute fact. There are a group of the world's elite that want to control us. That is not even questionable for anyone that has even looked a little bit beneath the surface of these conspiracy theories. They are more what I would term conspiracy facts. All right. There are, in fact, 5 buildings beneath the airport. 5. After being erected, all 5 of the buildings were deemed untenable, and instead of being torn down or fixed, they were buried. Weird, right? I think so. The labyrinth tunnels were built for an automated baggage system, one that never really took off and which was eventually completely abandoned September 2005. Now, that is the overview of the theories, the underground tunnels and so forth. But there's a lot more, and we're going to get into that right now. Now, I will say that as I was exploring, they have a subway type system to get to the different, the different terminals, I guess you would say. So I wanted to see that. Of all things, I wanted to see that because, I'd heard so much about these underground tunnels. So I thought, well, I'm going to take this to wherever it goes, and I'm going to just see, since I had so much time to myself there, and I was just waiting around with nothing to do. So I got into there, and what I noticed underground was as the train was going down the track, I'd see all these offshoots. And I asked them, I said, why are there all these tunnels going off in all these directions? And the train doesn't seem to travel on them. Doesn't seem to be going to any terminals. What is that for? And they said, oh, that's in case there's a runaway train. Well, that made absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. Why would you need all of these offshoot tunnels for runaway trains? Didn't seem to make much sense to me, but they're definitely there. There are tracks down there that lead to places where the train supposedly doesn't go. Excuse me. Let me take a drink. Excuse me. I don't want to have a coughing fit, and if I do continue to cough, I will pause the video until I get control of it. All right. So we're going to go on from the tunnels. We know I've seen them with my own eyes, and admittedly, they admit that there are underground facilities there. They range in explanation from storage to all sorts of things. The conspiracy theories, of course, suggest that there is an underground base there, which would not surprise me whatsoever. The place does have a very creepy, strange feel. It's unlike any place I've ever visited, and I can say that most assuredly. I'm just going to pause this for a minute because I need to get my cough under control. Okay, I think I've gotten a hold of myself, so let's continue. All right, now we are going back to here. All right, now what we're going to go on with now is the statue that stands outside of the Denver International Airport. It is a large, really large statue of a bluish horse, which looks very demonic, and at night its eyes glow red, and everyone has nicknamed this horse Lucifer. Now, the interesting thing about this horse is that it killed its maker. It actually did, and we're going to get into that. Outside the airport stands the almost 10-meter tall blue Mustang nicknamed Lucifer. The horse's bulging red veins and glowing red eyes are spooky as hell, and the statue has a surprisingly sinister past. During its creation, Lucifer fell on top of Luis Jimenez, the sculptor's creator, and ultimately killed him after severing an artery in his leg. Some conspiracy theorists believe the Mustang represented the fourth horseman of the apocalypse, a chapter from the book of Revelations that tells the story of an apocalypse and the last judgment. Now, this is prior to the last coming of Jesus, or the second coming of Jesus. And where this comes from is from Revelation 6:2. This is the King James Version. Revelation 6:2. And I saw, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him, and he went forth conquering and to conquer. Now, we're going to skip to Revelation 6:7-8, verses 7 and 8. And when he had opened the fourth seal, now this was an angel opening the fourth seal, and these seals that are opened, there are 4 of them, and each is represented by a horse called the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse for that reason. And each seal is associated with a horse. And when he had opened the 4th seal, I heard the voice of the 4th beast say, "Come and see." And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. And power was given to them over the 4th part of the earth to kill with the sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. So this is very interesting for many reasons. But let me go on, and then I will comment on it. The pale horse is one of the 4 seals of the book of Revelation, and each seal is represented by a horse. The name of the pale horse is Death, and he is given power to kill 1/4 of the world's population through war, hunger, and death. He is given a crown, and his ride of death is by ride of death is by plague. So he is killing by plague. Notice the word for crown, the word corona also is the same word for crown. Interesting. Very interesting. This horse represents the plagues that come to the earth. He's given power over the earth. He's carrying a bow and he's wearing a crown. So this horse, the rider, has a crown, and the crown, he goes forth to conquering and to conquer. All right. And it seems very much as if there's been a whole spate of plagues released upon the earth with the locust and all of these different diseases cropping up. Many of them have been engineered, but let's go on. Each of these seals represent powerful forces that devastate human life on the earth. The cumulative effect will lead to such conditions that if Jesus Christ did not intervene and cut short the time of the trial, no flesh would be saved. So it's quite evident that if Jesus did not intervene with his second coming, there would be no flesh left alive. That is what the Bible says. So we're talking serious plagues, destruction, war, famine. Now, plagues often bring famine. So in Jesus' parallel prophecy in Matthew 24, he explains that in the wake of religious deception, war, and famine would come pestilences or disease epidemics. Matthew 24, verse 7. The latter part of Revelation 6:8, speaking of all four horsemen, states, and power was given to them over a fourth of the earth to kill with sword, with hunger, with death, and by the beasts of the earth. Notice that the virus, the coronavirus, if you look and do any sort of research on it, you will see that it was developed from the shell of a bat coronavirus. So it's got that shell, but within that shell are components of MERS, SARS, and HIV, and it constantly is changing. So how the beasts of the earth are going to kill us, I don't know, but they may become diseased themselves, which makes them dangerous to man. Don't know. The latter part of Revelation 6:8, speaking of all four horsemen, states, and power was given to them. Okay, I've just read that. By the time the fourth horseman completes his ride, a fourth of Earth's inhabitants will experience incredible devastation. The death toll will be unlike any from plague and disease in human history. So we know that from what the Bible states. So don't you feel that it's a little bit odd that they chose a horse like this to represent the airport? We know that this horse is not benevolent because it has red glowing eyes at night, and just to look at it, it doesn't look real friendly. And it's not a very comforting sight if you're coming into the airport. Now, I was not able to see Lucifer myself because I had flown there. I didn't have a car, and I looked everywhere. I couldn't find outside where the Lucifer was. So the airport is massive, very massive. So let's look at some pictures here. Now, this was taken in black and white, which shows you this is a very good profile of the horse. It's rearing up on two legs, and the eyes glow at night, as I said. Now, this is a picture. The middle is a picture of the horse at night, and at nighttime, from several pictures that I've seen, because of the color and the lights shining on it, it does look like a pale horse. The blue appears more white in a lot of photos. So there you have the horse in all its glory, and you can see the red veins, and it doesn't look like a really friendly horse. Like, I wouldn't be going up to it, you know, if it was in real life with an apple or anything. You know, I think it's very imposing and fearful sight to me. Now, this is a very odd picture, and I apologize for how graphic it is, but look at the hinder parts of the horse, and to me it looks like this horse is raising its tail, and it looks like it's about to well, you know, get rid of some stuff. It's a male horse, as we can see here, and here are the veins. But you know, I've ridden horses a lot in my lifetime, not in the last few decades, but I grew up riding horses, and that to me looks like a horse that's ready to drop a load. All right, to put it bluntly. Okay, now inside the airport, there are several more ominous and questionable decorative choices. Gargoyles sit watching the baggage claim area, nightmarish murals cover the wall, and the airport's dedication stone is stamped with way too many Masonic symbols. We're going to get into all that. Now, this is the gargoyle in the baggage claim area, and this is his tail that's sticking out there, and it looks very much like the gargoyle that sits on top of Notre Dame. So the creator's explanation of this, he said, well, you know, because so much happens, I can't remember how he stated it, but it was basically that the gargoyle was to protect the luggage and so forth, but didn't do a very good job because the luggage, you know, the system for the luggage didn't work after all that money put into it. But yeah, the dedication marker holds the seal of the Freemasons, a fraternal organization that dates back as far as the 1700s and is subject to its fair share of conspiracy theories. The marker is a time capsule to be opened in 2094, 100 years after the original completion date of the airport. Apart from being conjointly paid for by two Freemason Grand Lodges in Colorado, the marker is also dated March 19th, 1994. Why is that weird? When totaled, that number becomes 33, which happens to be the highest level one can reach within Freemasonry and is meant to represent perfection. Maybe this coincidence isn't evil, but it is strange. The marker also reads New World Airport Commission, which is an organization that doesn't exist and doesn't do anything to help the New World Order rumors. So let's look at this. Sorry, I took this picture in black and white. I'm not sure why, but I did. So this is the stone. This is how it's set up, like when you walk to it. And out here is like a outside sitting area. But I looked all over for this, and I did find it. So you've got this marker, which is also a time capsule, which is to be opened in 100 years from the date of the opening of the airport. And it says Denver International Airport. Excuse me. And it has Wellington E. Webb, Mayor, and Governor Roy R. Romer, Secretary of Transportation, Federico Pena. This time capsule beneath this stone contains messages and memorabilia to the people of Colorado in 2094. And it says dedication capstone laid by the most worshipful Prince Hall Grand Lodge FNAM of Colorado and jurisdiction, Claude Gray Sr., Grand Master, and the most worshipful Grand Lodge of AF and AM of Colorado, Benjamin M. Bell Jr., Grand Master. And it has the Masonic symbol here. It says March 19th, 1994. And look at this. It says the New World Airport Commission. Contributors. And then it has the contributors. Well, okay, what's so strange about that? Well, the fact that it's Masonic. Okay, yeah, I'll give you that. But who is the New World Airport Commission? Well, they don't exist. No, they don't. So that's interesting. Probably the most well-known aspect of the Denver International Airport are the murals. Two of them, titled In Peace and Harmony with Nature and Children of the World Dream of Peace, being particularly infamous, artist Leo Tanjuma explained that the murals were meant to reflect environmental destruction and the hope for the end of societal violence. But take one look at these murals and you'll probably think of something else. To many airport travelers, the images depict death, genocide, sadness, and pain. They feature people crying, animals in glass boxes, fire, two small girls in caskets, and arguably the creepiest of all, a mask-clad soldier holding a machine gun in one hand and a sword stabbing a dove in the other. Now, we're going to look at these. There's a lot of them because I did try to take pictures of different areas of the mural later because I wanted to analyze them at home. And so this is the first one. You can see here there is it looks to me like a Nazi type soldier, and he has a machine gun and with a bayonet on the end, and he's got this large Islamic type sword. And what is this sword doing? It looks to me like not only is it piercing the dove being symbolic in the Christian faith of the Holy Spirit, but the dove is also very symbolic of peace. So it looks to me where this sword is landing is, okay, that was strange. My phone is in the whole other room and I just heard a Fox News update. Anyway, that was strange, but let's continue. Okay, so if you look at this sword, it looks to me like the point of the sword is maybe piercing the dove's hinder part. So I don't know, but look at here. There is destruction here. And look at this. There is something rising like a smoke, almost like maybe, I don't know, a gas, a vapor. Notice that this figure is wearing a gas mask. Why would he need to wear a gas mask unless there was reason to? So this soldier is piercing peace. And in the wake of this, it leaves a trail of tears, basically. There are mothers crying over there's a dead baby in her arms and she's crying. She looks absolutely horrified and shock-ridden. The people's faces all have faces of shock. I know it's hard to see some of this, but there are children, there are adults, and all of them are look as if they are displaced. They all look as if they're displaced. And on here, sleeping on the destruction, is a child with a teddy bear and, some sort of a coat or covering over him. Then there is a white child here that looks very much as if she's dead. And also this child as well. This looks like an Indian or Native American Indian or Hispanic, one of those races. Here, this is a black child. This is definitely a white child. And so you've got this happening. Now, this trail of whatever becomes a rainbow, and it extends over into the next mural, which is the two murals are separated. I'm going to have a picture of that in a little bit. So let's continue on with this. Now, I do want to point out this as well, that at the bottom here, there is a letter from a child, and I did get a close-up picture of that so we could read it. But here is a close-up of the trail. I call it a trail of tears. I don't know what it's called, but it's just a close-up there so we can see this. There's the mother with her child that's certainly dead. Looks absolutely like perhaps it has died from famine or disease. And We're going to come down here. And this, because they have plexiglass and everything over the mural, so you can't touch it. So the way that my flash went off, because it was dark in this, or darker, my flash went off. And of course, you've got a reflection here, but it does show you a little bit up close. There are children here. This child is dragging a suitcase. There's a mother with a small child, a man with a child. And these people look like they're escaping something. They're taking, this guy has a sack on his shoulders. He's probably taking all his worldly possessions with him, as are these people. It appears they are escaping something. And here is the letter. And it says, I was once a little child who longed for other worlds, but I am no more a child, for I have known fear. I have learned to hate. How tragic, then, is youth, which lives with enemies, with gallows, ropes. Yet I still believe I only sleep today, that I'll wake up a child again and start to laugh and play. And this is... It is written by a child that died I can't quite read that upside down, 1943 in Auschwitz. So this was apparently, now I don't know if that's real or not. I don't know if this really was written by a child in Auschwitz. I don't know. But the creator of this mural has placed that there. And it's interesting, to say the least. So in this mural, the first mural, you've got people dying, you've got disease, you've got pestilence, you've got destruction, you've got war. And you've got this child who perished in Auschwitz saying, you know, that once a child, but is dreaming of a day when they'll wake up and start to laugh and play again. All right. Now, we're going to go down here, and the rainbow that we saw in that mural that we just looked at goes over and extends into this mural. Now, I did not take this picture. I found this picture because I think it's a really good picture that shows the entire mural. So let's look at this. Now, when we move to this mural over here, we have this soldier has been toppled, and now there are two doves sitting on what used to be his weapon. Now, where did he fall from? He fell from this platform over here, which says, and it's cracked here, it says war, violence, hate. So he fell from that platform, and as you can see, there's still part of his boot there, and he's been toppled. And there's his other boot, and there he's lying down. His gun is broken. And you've got all the children of the world represented here. You've got different flags representing different nations. We've got the United States here. It appears we've got Britain. We've got just different states here all being represented. And what are they doing? They're all bringing their weapons of war to this guy in the middle. He is in dead center, middle, this young Aryan looking boy, blonde hair, and he's got an anvil here. And what is he doing? He is beating the weapons of war into plowshares. Now, the Bible does say that the nations of the world will beat their swords into plowshares. When Christ himself comes to the earth to physically rule and reign, not before. So this boy right here is representative of the Antichrist and not the Christ. They are bringing, you can see all of these weapons of war being brought. There's swords, there's down here, there's weapons, different weapons. I've got some close-ups of some of these. So, and you can see that they're all in their different native costumes and so forth, the costumes that are representative of their nationality. And they are all, here's a Canadian up here, a Mountie, and they're all children. And it says peace, and there's peace is represented by all different languages here. So we're going to go on from that, and this is the rainbow that came from the death and destruction of the guy with this guy. All right, now we're going to come down here, and here is another look at it. And you can see this is my picture, and it's hard to get a good picture there because of the lighting and everything. So I felt like whoever this was above, they took a much better picture of that and much more all-encompassing. So let's come down here to where I have done some close-ups. And this is one, it's and you can see there's Israel, all the swords being brought, and this is an older lady. There are some women here. This guy looks like he's yelling, come on. You can see these people are all happy. Some of them are very tribal in nature, and some of them are more from a more, more the type of civilization that we would represent. And you can see these children down here. Everybody's doing their share. They're all bringing their swords to be made into plowshares. Okay, and down here, this is the upper left corner. We see this guy representing Canada, no doubt. And here we've got weapons of war as well, swords, and we've got let me see here. Same sort of thing. This is just a close-up of that. And all of these children are happy. They're all happy. They're all bringing their weapons. And this is another close-up. I think this is let's see here. Sometimes I get backwards with these murals, but I think this is the middle left. All right, and you see these guys right down here. This guy is extending an arm to this guy. Come on. This guy is in a wheelchair, no doubt, from war, probably injured in war, maybe not. You've got this woman that is actually the yellow of the rainbow, and she is like an angelic figure, and she is assisting them. And these are boys. They look very much like, American boys, Canadian boys, I don't know, English, who knows. But there are three boys here, and they're carrying, there's a toy airplane, there's a toy tank, and there's a hatchet and something else here, probably a, I don't know, rifle of some sort, maybe, I don't know. And this girl is helping them, assisting them. And these look like a couple Asian, could be girls or boys, I'm not sure. And yeah, so let's come down here. And here is another view. And we've got someone over here playing the piano. Everybody's happy, everybody's happy. And this is just another close-up. We're gonna come down here. There's many of them. Many close-ups. All right, and this, let me see here. Well, that is pretty much the same as I've already shown you. Like I said, I took a lot of pictures because I wanted to analyze these and I wanted to get close-ups. So this does look like some sort of a rifle or something, and here are all the weapons, the swords of war. Now, this is a close-up. Now these look like older females. They are bringing their swords. You can see all the nations represented here. Here's this boy that's disabled, extending a hand to someone else, saying, come on. And this is a close-up. Yeah, that looks like a rifle or something. And there's a sword there, a hatchet, a tank, plane. warplane, it looks like, jet, and this girl in yellow. And we're going to come down here. Here's a close-up of this guy. This is the guy that was terrorizing everyone in the first mural, and he has now been toppled. And this is where he has toppled from, the platform that says War, Violence, and Hate. Some of this is redundant, but I took these pictures because I wanted to give a really good overview of what these murals contain. Now, these are not my pictures because, I'll tell you why. I looked everywhere, and some of these murals have now been painted over. Now, the first two murals that I showed you, they're still there. This mural, I believe, has been now painted over. For what reason, I don't know. But I know there's been a lot of complaints. People find this very creepy to be in an airport, and I can see why, because we're getting to another mural here. This is a mural that has everyone is kind of, well, let me go on and show you. This isn't a really good representative, but you can see the mural has different, here's the desert, here's the rainforest, you know, and different people. There's animals, a lot of animals in this, and people. Let's go forward here. Yeah, this is the part that, this is more of an overview of the mural. Again, this is not my picture. I found this online because I couldn't find this mural. I looked everywhere. So you can see here, there's the whales jumping out of the ocean here, and over here, there's actually two parts of this mural, because the first one, I should have shown you that first, shows it being destroyed, and the second one shows it being renewed. And this is the renewal one. You've got the desert, the rainforest, the mountains, and the ocean. And you have all the children of the world coming together, and here they're looking at this new seed that's coming up, this new seed. And there are wolves here, and everybody, all the animals and people are in peace now. And there's flowers here, and up here is some, looks like snow leopards possibly. And yeah, so this is a very happy scene. The animals are coming together, the children are coming together, and they're all looking at this new seed coming up, this new world, this new race almost. And I'm sure you've heard that before in many other videos on this kind of stuff. But anyway, let's come down, and here are the little wolf cubs and all the flowers and the nature and the greenery, and everything is renewed again. That is the last mural. Everything's renewed again. They've all come together. They're all, but they're retaining their identities, you know, their national identities. Here's the Aryan, an Aryan-looking boy. Here is Scottish. You know, you can tell the different nationalities by the clothing that they're wearing, all in traditional garb. Now, this is taken from the mural that shows the destruction. So that is what happens after the destruction. This shows the destruction, and this is creepy because you've got blood oceans, and the whales are dying. You've got this turtle down here that's all caught up in fishing wire. You've got, I don't know if this bird is dead or alive, but you've got these animals, and you can't see all of the mural here, but you've got these animals in these glass cages, and it says, you know, that they're extinct. It says extinct, I think 1844. Could be 1944 because it's not big enough. Probably 1844. And you've got a dead leopard here. You've got flowers here that are blooming. And up here is Quetzalcoatl. Now, there is, and I'm going to have to look into that further. Actually, I meant to, and I forgot about it. You've got the forest fires. You've got the forests are on fire here. And look at the crying. and this person saying, oh no, like they're looking at this dead leopard, and this person is bringing part of it looks like a Mayan tablet of some sort, and you've got, that is so strange, my phone is like doing its own thing there. I don't know if you heard that or not, but anyway, yeah, so this is a very, very sad scene. You've got the fires, the forest fires. You've got the city, looks like they're all engulfed in pollution. The waters have turned to blood. And there is Quetzalcoatl, and it's some, I know it's in Central and South America, I think, that believe in the Quetzalcoatl, and it'll return, and I'm not sure. I've got to look into that. I did look at it quite a while ago, but it's been too many years for me to recall the whole story. So I'm going to have to look into that further for you, but let's go on here. Now, this is a bigger panoramic of this, and you see Quetzalcoatl here, and you see the forests that are on fire, blood in the ocean, the animals are dying, and in the casket there are 3 women. Oops, sorry, hang on here. There are 3 women. You can't quite see this girl right here. It's a white, almost German looking girl, and here and here, there are 3 women in caskets right here in the foreground, and you've got the animals in, these extinct animals are in glass cages. But see, this glass cage is not really a cage, because he's rising out and he's breaking out of this cage. So he's coming again. People believe the coming of Quetzalcoatl will signify the end of the world, or I'm not sure. It's something to do. It's an end time prophecy of some sort, and I'll have to look into that more for you, because it's been a long time. And you can see here the bones of some creature. So not a very pleasant scene for people traveling through an airport. The last thing you want to do when you're getting on a plane is walk through scenes of destruction. Yeah, not real encouraging. So it is an odd choice. I mean, obviously the creator is very, very talented, but an odd choice. Now here we've got another part of this, and here's the dead leopard. Here is the girl that's dead in the casket. And this guy, he's crying. This is a passenger pigeon, extinct, 1914, and it's in a glass cage. And you've got this little guy, he's holding onto a squirrel, and the flowers are still there, but that's about it. The animals are dying. There's pollution. The oceans are turning blood to blood, and yeah. So that is those are the murals from the Bank of. Now I thought I had put in here one that showed the placement of these, but perhaps I didn't. And I guess I didn't. Sorry about that. Anyway, what we're going to go on to now is we're going to go on to the Bank of America murals. And I'm only going to go in depth into one, and there's a reason for that. So keep in mind what you've just seen from the Denver International Airport. Obviously, these are scenes of destruction and renewal. It's the first one is destruction coming to the world through pestilence, through plague, through war, through violence, and famine, and that is depicted. And you've got people dying. You've got it's an awful world. You can feel it from the photo. You really can, or not from the photo, but from actually being there and standing there. You feel it. It's not really pleasant to look at, to tell you the truth. And then you've got it that turning into a rainbow and all the children of the world when the Christ figure arises, And let me assure you that it's not depicting the true Christ, it is depicting the Antichrist, and they are coming and beating their weapons into plowshares. All right. Now, this is the Bank of Montreal murals. These are 3 of them, okay? Now, we're looking at this one right here. I'm not sure if I can make this bigger, a little bit bigger. It just gets blurrier, but so this is the one that we're most concerned about right now, but we're going to be taking a quick look at this one as well. Now, in a future video, if you want me to look more in depth into these, I will, but I wanted to give you an overview. Now, let's look at this, because this is what really caught my attention and all of a sudden made me think about the Denver airport and the coronavirus, all of this stuff. I mean, this doesn't specifically say anything about the coronavirus, but I just got thinking about all this and how it kind of all tied together. So let's look at this picture. We've got a young, very Aryan looking young man, and he's in a Masonic stance. He's on a checkered, I guess, floor of some sort. And this part is cut out, I think signifying a different level or a different place in history. These are the founders, I believe, and they are pointing to this man as pointing to the way forward. Okay, and here he is. There's a pyramid in the background, a burning bush, a black sun, and a woman in a cube, and a stairs. Now, what can we make of all this? Well, I'm going to show you. Now, this is how the mural looks when you're looking at it in the Bank of America building. And I'm telling you, I had a friend of mine. I used to live in Charlotte, and I had a friend of mine. We went there, and we were made to feel very uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable. Security came up to us, was asking us all sorts of questions. We said we just want to look at the murals. We actually were kind of chased out of there, and we weren't doing anything. We were looking at the murals. So it was very bizarre, but this is what it looks like inside, how the mural is on the wall. And as we see up here, we would in that picture be standing right about here, taking a picture of this, because there's 3 panels here. And these are the elevators. There's a bank of elevators there. All these are elevators. All right. Now, let's come down here. The fresco on the right, which is the one we're looking at, is dubbed Planning Knowledge. An esoteric read of its symbolism reveals exactly what is being planned and what knowledge it is referring to. Here you see a young blonde Aryan boy who is standing on the classic Masonic checkerboard floor as part of a controlled landscape. He is standing in the northeast corner with his feet in the classic heel-to-heel 90-degree stance. Now, this is taken from Malcolm C. Duncan's Masonic Ritual and Monitor. Question: on your return to the lodge, where you were placed as the On your return to the lodge, where were you placed as the youngest entered apprentice? Answer: in the northeast corner, my feet forming a right angle, my body erect at the right hand of the worshipful master in the east, an upright man and mason, and it was given me strictly in charge ever to walk and act as such. So this is the 90-degree stance that is part of the first, is it the first degree? An entered apprentice. It is the 90-degree stance of the entered apprentice in the Masonic tradition. And this boy is standing as an entered apprentice, so he is just on the scene here. And these people had been planning for this person's arrival. Notice that they're all talking and they're pointing toward this boy. All right, let's go on. There's more symbolism here to get to. The man in front of the burning bush is white, and is wearing a red sweater and blue jeans. Red, white, and blue. The burning bush is representative of the Old Testament. And let's look at that. This is from Albert G. Mackey, Encyclopedia of Freemasonry, Part 1. Now, we know, of course, the burning bush from the Bible is not the same burning bush, although they refer to it and they refer to the biblical burning bush, but it doesn't mean the same. Let's look at it. In the third Exodus, it is recorded that while Moses was keeping the flock of Jethro on Mount Horeb, the angel of the Lord appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush, and there communicated to him for the first time his ineffable name, which was, I am that I am. This occurrence is commemorated in the burning bush of the Royal Arch degree. In all systems of antiquity, fire is adopted as a symbol of deity, and the burning bush, or the bush filled with fire, did not consume. Whence came forth the tetragrammaton, the symbol of divine light and truth. This is not the divine light and truth of our Lord Jesus Christ. This is the divine light and truth of Lucifer, who is the light. Yes, Jesus Christ is the light as well. Lucifer is a false light. That's why Jesus said, be careful of the light which you have, that it be not darkness. What did he mean by that? There is a light that is dark. It is Lucifer. All right. So, the symbol of divine light and truth is considered in the advanced degrees of Freemasonry, like the Orient in the lower, as the great source of the true Masonic light. Wherefore, supreme councils of the 33rd degree date their balusters or official documents near the BB or burning bush to intimate that they are, in their own right, the exclusive source of all Masonic instruction. Interesting. The pyramid, of course, is the ultimate symbol of the esoteric occult mystery schools. Now, the ritual of the first degree of Masonry refers to the northeast corner of the lodge. In this ceremony, the candidate becomes the representative of a spiritual cornerstone, and hence, to thoroughly comprehend the true meaning of the emblematic ceremony, it is essential that we should investigate the symbolism of the cornerstone. The cornerstone is frequently referred to as the appropriate symbol of a chief or prince who is the defense and bulwark of his people, and more particularly in Scripture as denoting that promised Messiah who was to be the pure prop and support of all who should put their trust in his divine mission. However, this is the Antichrist, and it is a complete subversion of the true Christ. Hence, the Antichrist is known as the cornerstone, as is the true Christ, and so forth. All right, and as you'll see, that boy was in the northeast corner of the mural, or fresco, as it's called. So this is the Antichrist as a complete subversion of the true Christ. On the left of the image are stairs, apparently leading to the heavens, a classic symbol representing the path to illumination, Illuminati, through the mysteries of Masonry. In the sky is a black sun, another symbol of an esoteric significance. Hermetic traditions teach the existence of two suns, an invisible and an etheric one made of pure philosophical gold, and the material one, the only one the profane can perceive, known as the black sun. This can also be seen on the floor of the Denver International Airport. Now, I'm sorry I didn't get pictures of that. In fact, I could not find it. So there's a lot of symbolism in Denver, and I only got a small portion of it. And I wish that I had paid more attention to the floors in hindsight, which is always 2020. But perhaps someday I will have the privilege, I guess, of being there again. It's kind of a backward privilege, but you know what I mean. I want to be there for research purposes. Anyway, let's come down here. Now, this is the second mural, all right? And here we see and it's a little bit hard to see, but down here are scenes that looks like a concentration camp to me. You've got somebody in a hazmat suit, like a gas suit. You've got people being tortured. You've got a lot of things. This looks like a scene from Auschwitz, really. Up here looks like almost like the chimneys of a crematorium. But let's take a closer look at this guy right here, and we'll see him here. And here he is, obviously some sort of chemical, I don't know, biological hazard there. And that is, you're going from the guy in the new initiate to this. The world is progressing, I guess. And let's continue on down. The second panel in the middle is called Chaos Creativity. It depicts civil unrest, protests, and repression. It reminds me of a camp where people who resist the current order are held. There are people of different races as well as religious figures held within a compound bound with barbed wire. Above, I can see a swirling symbol of the rich and powerful celebrating their glory and feeding off the chaos below. Now, we're going to go on from there. Now, can you see how this is really kind of the same symbolism that is in, I mean, some of it is similar to the symbolism that is in Denver Airport. Now, we're not done. We're going to go back to Denver Airport for a moment, and we're going to look at this guy. Now, this is a statue that was erected at Denver International Airport, and it was in advance of King Tut's treasure, which I guess was touring in Denver. So they put up this big statue of Anubis. And who might this be? Well, let's look. Anubis, also called Anpu, ancient Egyptian god of the dead, represented by a jackal or the figure of a man with the head of a jackal. In the early dynastic period in the Old Kingdom, he enjoyed a preeminent, though not exclusive, position as Lord of the Dead, but was later overshadowed by Osiris. His role is reflected in such epithets as he who is upon his mountain, Lord of the sacred land, foremost of the Westerners, and he who is in the place of embalming. So we also see this god, the ancient Egyptian god of the dead, featured in the short animated film that was put out by Heliofant that many feel, including myself, that is of extremely prophetic in nature and symbolic. I mean, the symbolism in there is, I mean, off the chart. And at some point, if you guys want me to, I may go through that short film and discuss the symbolism there, because there's a lot, and I've taken a lot of time to really, really investigate it. So we see this god prominent in the animated film, I Pet Goat. It heralds the arrival of the Antichrist figure. So here's Denver Airport. They have a great big statue of what looks like at night a pale horse with red glowing eyes, and it's standing, 10 meters high. And then you've got all these murals depicting first death and destruction, then death and destruction, and literally that the man is wearing, the soldier is wearing a face mask, gas mask. So we know that it's got to be some sort of biological thing that's occurring in that that mural itself. So then you've got them all bringing their weapons to beat into plowshares, and you've got this young boy, that blonde boy, right? And that is the Antichrist figure. That is not the Christ, because Jesus Christ does not come back to earth as a boy. So this is the Antichrist figure. It is a false piece. false guarantee of peace. So then it goes into that, and it shows the destruction of the earth. And then, well, it shows the earth that's not destroyed, then the earth is destroyed. No, it shows the earth destroyed, and then it shows after the earth is coming back and replenishing itself. Now, that will happen because when Christ returns, the world will renew itself. There'll be a great deal of destruction, ecologically, in all sorts of ways. So we're going to look at this. Now in I Pet Goat, we see the same exact themes. And here, what heralds the coming of the Antichrist figure is this. This represents Anubis. And this is actually the head of his boat. You can't see it right here from the angle, but the Antichrist is in a boat, and he's kind of like, out of it. He's kind of meditating or not conscious or whatever, and he's standing in the boat, and he's just kind of, and the head of the boat, this is Anubis. So it precedes him. The god of the dead precedes the Antichrist figure, and that is scriptural. Well, not that the god of dead is coming, but the horsemen of the apocalypse, which take a quarter of the inhabitants of the world, and the fish and the animals and everything else is destroyed. So yes, this god of the dead, or the dead, so to speak, does herald the coming of the Antichrist, just like the picture in the Denver airport, where there's the pestilence and plagues and all this, and the gas mask, which could represent coronavirus. I don't know, but and you see all the death, and then you see the Antichrist figure and everyone bringing them their plowshares. But that peace will not be a lasting peace. There will be no peace on earth until Jesus Christ himself returns to rule and reign. All right, now I want to show you something else in this Heliophant short film. And I think that really, I never knew what this meant, and I puzzled over it and puzzled over it and puzzled over it, and then it just came to me. All of a sudden, I thought, this coronavirus, and then I saw that picture of this little spot in the Heliophant film. So let's take a look at this. We're going to start at 3:36, 3 minutes and 36 seconds in, and I'm going to have to turn off the sound, because I don't want it to distract us, because we're not interested in the sound. We're interested in the vision of this. What did I say here? Back here. Let me go back here. I said out there. Not there. My gosh, where am I here? There I am. 3:36. What a memory I have. Not. Okay, and let's go back here. 3:36. Let's go. Okay. And I'll start it a little bit sooner. This is where this scene starts, right about 3:31, 3:32, 3:33. Okay, and let's start. Okay, that's a little bit too soon. This is the next right here. There we go. And what I'm going to do is, if I can, there's a way, I think, to slow this down, isn't there? I think there is, but I don't think I've ever used it, so I don't know. I won't mess with it for now, but let's look at this. So we've got these tanks coming against this girl who's waving a white flag of surrender. And you'll see, we see the same type of bones that we see in the Denver International Airport there in that scene where the earth was destroyed. So let's see if I can back this up one more minute. Okay, let's just start from here. So it's switching from this scene to this scene, and you've got a row of tanks coming, and look at this. It looks like the bones of some sort of a creature. I don't know what that represents, but you've got the yin and yang symbol. Is that what it's called? I think so. Symbol forming here, which is the first clue to the race of this young girl that's waving this white flag. And see all these teeth with their mouths are open, they open and close. Now, see, she's running up to it. She's fearless. And these big tanks with their teeth. And it's snowing here, it appears. So it's winter time. So that's important. It's winter time. It's snowing. She's waving this white flag of surrender to these tanks that are coming. And what is on the back? It is a tiger. So who is this representing? China. Now let's look. We've got this person with his bony hand reaching out to touch her. Now remember, this girl is fearless. She just ran up and she's waving this flag in front of these tanks. She is fearless. And I think that is probably another clue, because I think that represents, you know, showing that her strength and her resilience, because these are the people, these young people, remember, they're stood up in Tiananmen Square in front of these tanks, right? So I think this is to show us how strong and resilient and resolved these people are as a people. All right, now it's winter, it's snowing, and all right, this thing, whatever it is, skeleton, has its hand on her shoulder. Now watch, she's going to turn around. And she does look Asian. And she's got the nuclear symbol here. She's got a little heart here, and she's got some scars on her head. And she turns around and she's got that fierce expression. But watch her expression change. She's still got her flag. She's turning around to see who touched her. And who is it? There's fireworks going off. It's snowing. It's winter, right? It's winter. And this guy is a skeleton. He's a skeleton, and he's blowing something that you blow at parties or New Year's Eve. And fireworks. New Year's. It's the Chinese New Year. It's the Chinese New Year. It's winter. She's Chinese. You can tell. She's got the tiger on her back. She's waving a flag of surrender. It's a scene reminiscent of Tiananmen Square. She's fierce. She turns around, and what does she see? She sees that the person that tapped her on the back was this skeleton. He's got a little daisy up here. He's got a top hat, and he's got one of those things you blow on New Year's Eve. Perhaps these are the bones of a past civilization. I don't know. I don't know what those bones represent. But let's go forward. See, he blows that. I'm sure we all have at a party or New Year's Eve or whatever. And look what effect him touching her and blowing that has on her. She looks for a minute, she's surprised, and then her eyes close. She looks down, and she looks hopeless. There's a look of hopelessness that comes across her. And moments before, you got to realize, here he is reaching out to touch her. She's fearless. Not anymore. And then there's the Antichrist figure. And you can't see it in this scene, but he is like the boat is in the shape of the Anubis. So that is all that has to do with that. But then there's another scene in here too where Kali is dancing. And Kali, of course, is the god of destruction. And Kali is dancing. And it's interesting because that's exactly what is coming. So I wanted you guys to see that. And if you want my next video to be an analysis of this, then I can. There's been a lot of videos put out analyzing that short film, and some of them have been good and some of them have not been so good. None of them are complete in my estimation, because there's more symbolism to be delved into. So it's very important. It was a very important short film. If you haven't seen it, you should. You really should. It's called I Pet Goat 2, and it's by Heliofont, and this is the Heliofont channel. Now, they're very, very talented people, but there's no question that this is prophetic. There is symbolism up to here in this film. So that is what I wanted to show you tonight, and I'm hoping that I was able to draw this together for you. I do believe that that skeleton that is touching the woman, the Chinese young lady, I think that is the coronavirus. It came out around New Year's, Chinese New Year's, and the winter, snow, winter, China. This skeleton representing death touches her, and the skeleton's celebrating the Chinese New Year, but it reaches out and touches her, and all of a sudden she knows she's going to die. She's like, it's over. So I don't know, but I have one more thing to show you here. My gosh, I didn't put it in here. Well, I'm going to have to go over here on my desktop, and I'm going to have to find it because it's the most important thing, I think, yet. I don't know where I placed that, but hey, there I am. That's not who I want or what I want. Okay, this, I guess I just didn't transfer it over, is what I wanted to show you. Now I'm going to make it bigger. What I did here is I took this figure of the boy. I split it in half, right in half. Okay, that's what I did. And then I took that half, I made a duplicate of it, and I flipped it horizontal. And this is what it shows. It shows where this young boy is getting his power from. He's getting it from this. This looks very ominous to me. Let me see if I can make this bigger for you, and it makes it more blurry. But it's like this thing is coming down right into where his the pineal gland would be, and there is the pyramid in the background. And is he completing the capstone of the pyramid, this Antichrist figure? I don't know, but his power is not from God. It is from, well, some will claim maybe it's from an alien intelligence. It will be demonic, absolutely, because actually Satan himself will indwell him. That's what the Bible says. So Satan himself will indwell this being, and here we have power coming down into his pineal gland. And this boy suddenly looks a little sinister, if you ask me. So I think that's very interesting. Now let me see. I don't know how to make it. Take it back to where it was now. Oh, here. Hang on. So there you go. And behind him, there's like a different level here. And he's still on the checkerboard floor, but it's like he's got a red line and it goes all the way up. And the pyramid, this looks like there's smoke or something coming from this pyramid. And this boy is being given this power. So I think that's something, really. I think it is. And I find that very, very shocking, to say the very least. And while I'm over here, let me see if I can find the mural that has, here it is. Let me show you this. I want to show you this. Okay, see this mural over here that we looked at? And remember I told you that this was separated, this is turning into a rainbow here, and then it goes over here, and the Antichrist figure is in the middle of this mural. So I hadn't taken a picture of this, but I was able to find this. So those are the two murals that I was able to observe when I was there. The other one I could not find. Now, I know some of those murals have been painted over. Maybe that's why I couldn't find them. The security person was following me everywhere when I was there. So I really didn't want to ask any questions because they were already asking me why I was so interested in the murals. And I said, I'm an art student and I'm interested in the art and the symbology. And he left me alone for a little bit, but I noticed he was back following me a little later. So very creepy place. And they somehow could tell that I was trying to check things out. And I don't think they like that very much. I don't know why. I mean, the murals are there to be seen, are they not? I would assume so, but they were not real friendly. And yeah. And of course, I had to take a picture of my gate because I had been traveling at that point for so long that when I saw that flash up with my gate and everything, that my layover was over and I was going home, I was like, oh, thank you, Lord. Really, I was. I had never been so happy to see the words New Orleans in my entire life. So anyway, and let me just see if there's anything else that I've missed showing you. This is something I didn't mention as well. This is what is called the Grand Hall. And you notice in Freemasonry, they always have a Grand Hall. Well, this is the terminal that I was actually in, and it is called the Grand Hall. So for what it's worth. And I'm not sure if there's anything else I've missed here. I don't think so. So, all right. Well, I'm going to leave it there for tonight, and I'm going to, I'm not sure. Well, it's 11 o'clock, so this video has gone on for quite a while. So this will probably be it will be my only video for tonight, but I'll be back tomorrow. I still have another 2 videos prepared to bring to you, so I will attempt to bring those tomorrow, at least one, probably 2 tomorrow. So thank you guys so much for listening. I appreciate it, and I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope that it was helpful to you. If not, let me know in a very nice way. Don't be cruel, but if this is not something you're interested in and you want me to just stick with what I've been sticking with, that's good too. But I thought, this is great for variety and it adds to our knowledge. So if you want me to look into other things or you have some suggestions of things you'd like me to look into, run it by me. I'm open. All right. So thank you guys so much. And thank you guys to you guys that do donate via Ko-fi or Patreon or PayPal or what have you. I appreciate it so much. And I will talk to you in the next video. Have a great night, guys. Good night.